Some of you are under the misconception that if it's biblical, I can read it and understand it. Uh-uh. And I will invite you to turn to our scripture, which is in John, the 13th chapter, the 31st through the 35th. And the reason that I ask you to turn to that is if you will read the first two sentences, you'll go, huh? Because that's exactly what I did. So I cheated. I'm reading from the Message. And he understands what Jesus was saying. So therefore, I'm going to read from this Bible and not that Bible. When he left, now I got to explain what he's talking about. He's just finished going through the Last Supper in John, which is different than is in the Synoptics. But anyway, he had he had said someone was going to betray him, and they said who, and he said the one I give the dip to, and he dipped his bread and he gave it to who? Judas Iscariot. And Judas Iscariot left, and it became night. And when he had left, Jesus said, now the Son of Man is seen for who he is, because he's anticipating his crucifixion. And God seen for who he is in him. The moment God is seen in him, God's glory will be on display in glorifying him. He himself is glorified. Glory all around. Children, I'm with you only for a short time longer. You're going to look high and you're going to look low for me. But just as I told the Jews, I'm telling you, where I go, you're not able to come. Let me give you a new commandment. Love one another in the same way that I have loved you. You love one another. This is how everybody will recognize that you're my disciples, when they see the love that you have for each other. May God bless the reading of his will. Thanks be to God.
God sent us a wonderful gift when he sent us you, my boy. So, do y'all ever wonder where people in Jesus' day went out to eat? You ever thought about that? I mean, when Mary and Martha and Lazarus just decided, we'll cook tonight, it was a place that they could go. I mean, where they could have a meal where they could sit down and somebody would bring them a menu and, they would serve them. Did they have the opportunity to say to each other, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Y'all do that. And when Jesus was traveling with his disciples, whether they were in town or out on the road, moving from village to village, where'd they get their food? We know that in some instances there were women who traveled with them, who supported them and made sure that they had good meals to eat. But on those occasions when the boys were on their own, where did they eat? I had not thought about it, but according to scholars, there were no restaurants in Jesus' day, not like we have today, no Western Sizzlin' or Olive Garden or Cracker Barrel, anything like that. But there were places to buy and eat food outside of the home. There were marketplaces and there were inns. Remember the story of the Good Samaritan, the Samaritan man who rescued the Jewish man who had been beaten on the side of the road? Remember where he took him? Took him to an inn, didn't he? And he asked the innkeeper, will you take care of him and I will pay you when I come back through? But where it was really, really going on was the marketplaces. They were like the Publix or the farmers market. They had all these different stalls and they sold wheat and barley and bread and fish and olives and figs. You could get anything that you needed in the marketplace. And there were street vendors, not only in town on the narrow little streets inside the towns, but also out on the roads. And they were more like the McDonald's and the Captain D's. They were kind of the fast food places because you could get from them fried fish and pickled cucumbers and grilled meats. I don't think they had discovered French fries by then. I don't think. Or ketchup. I might be wrong, but I don't think they had. Who knows? Anyway, so that's what they did. People gathered to eat in lots of various settings. They got together in homes, of course. We know many stories of Jesus going into people's homes and inns and public spaces like the marketplace. Or they would buy food and they would take it out by the lake and have picnics. And we remember, of course, that wonderful story of Jesus providing the picnic next to the lake, don't we, with the five fish and the loaves of bread. And we think about the Last Supper too. Jesus actually rented that upstairs room. It was like a party room, like they have down at the Mexican restaurant. You know how you can have we had our meeting there last month. You can get those party rooms. So Jesus got a party room to uh, share that meal with his disciples. Most of the meals were just very common, bread and maybe fish, vegetables, something like that. Or wealthier people might have some lamb or calf, a little bit of beef. But no matter what they ate or where they ate, it's really evident from all the things that the Bible tells us that for people during that time, gathering together, eating together in community was of great importance. They honored one another, they treasured their friendships, they respected one another around the table. And you can just think about all those stories about Jesus that took place around the dining table. Everybody likes to go out every now and then and eat. Jim and I do. We do it too often. Not as much as we used to, but we probably go out too often. And if we decide after we've had that conversation, where do you want to go? I don't know. And after we've had that, if we decide that we're going to walk to town 9 times out of 10, we're going to choose the corner cafe. Now, how many of you have been to the corner cafe? Just about everybody. So you're going to be able to picture what I'm talking about. If you've not been, it's going to be a little bit more challenging for you, but I hope you can do it. The Corner Cafe has been on the square in Carrollton for over 30 years. They had their 30th birthday last year. Longer than any other restaurant up there. They've lasted. They've just kept on going through thick and thin, just going. It's a one of a kind place. That is for sure. It's hard to find the words to describe the corner cafe. Eclectic is the first word I think of, uh, colorful and fun and eclectic. You see a little bit of everything in the corner cafe, don't you? First thing you notice when you get in there and you get kind of settled in is the artwork. Now, some of it's new, but most of it has been there for the whole 30 years. There were probably 100 pieces of art, either hanging on the wall, and I say art loosely, hanging on the wall or painted on the wall itself. Some of it is really beautiful, and some of it is just what it is, and it's beautiful in its own way. Started thinking of words to describe, what this artwork is like. Um, it's a lot of celestial stuff, abstract portraits of the sun and the moon and mermaids and nature and astronomical fantasies. It's kind of Picasso. You look at Picasso and you say, "Oh, that's a woman," and then you look at it again and you realize that she's not. There's something going on with that woman. It looks kind of familiar, but then you look again and she is completely out of sync. Just about all the pictures there are sort of like that. They have something to do with the nature of the world, and they have a lot to do with the fickleness of we humans who live in it. So it's complicated. It's complicated. It's dualistic. It's a little psychedelic, yin and yang, and this and that. And then, duh, it dawned on me. It's hippie art. That's what it is. It's hippie art. It's bad tattoo art. But it's wonderful if you just sit there and let it be. It reminds you that you have come to a place that is somewhere else, that you're not in your usual circle, that you're not in Kansas anymore. Now, the second thing that you notice after you've looked around at the artwork, because you don't have any choice because they give you the menu and you've got to decide what you want to eat. So you have to look at the kinds of food that they have. There are sandwiches called gargoyle or jellyfish or Rosemary's Baby's Daddy or the mugwump or the weeping willow or the Mr. Green Jeans, which is one of my favorites. And the famous spinach artichoke dough dip with focaccia is a work of art in itself. And it's hard to decide what you're going to eat. So I think the best thing to do is just make a little pact with yourself. Order something different every time and see if you can get all the way through the menu in a year. It's a nice, tasty challenge. Some of the food is like nothing you've ever eaten before, but you never know until you try, do you? So then, as you're sitting there waiting for your food to arrive, you can almost be sure that one thing is going to happen. Somebody is going to be sitting there, or somebody is going to come in the door who you know, either well or just vaguely, a neighbor or a church friend, somebody you went to school with. You'll see them and you'll greet them warmly. And then something else is going to happen. You're going to realize as you sit there that the people who walk in are as varied and unusual as the sandwiches on the menu, right? You see all kinds of people at the corner cafe. Because in addition to your neighbors, there come those hippies who painted the picture. There are left wing activists who you actually saw standing in town last Saturday with signs. There are people that think way too highly of themselves and don't have time to speak to anyone else. And there are those who are so friendly and so humble and so kind, and they would give you the shirt off their back. Now, there are politicians in there eating Rosemary's Baby's Daddy who would lie to you in a heartbeat to get what they want. And yet there are other politicians in there who want only the best for everyone. There are those whose work is in finance and they do it well. As a matter of fact, they have big houses and fancy cars that they bought off the overpriced repaying of loans by those who cannot afford it. They're there. There are gay couples holding hands under the table because they're not brave enough to put their hands on top so everybody can see. There are families who come in who silently add up the bill before they order to make sure they have enough. There are people who come in and sit all by themselves. There is a man with a big gun around his waist who looks like he doesn't trust anybody, not even his own mother. There's a woman with a homophobic slur on her t-shirt, and there's another woman sitting right across from her with a t-shirt that says Jesus was woke. There's a group of men with dirty clothes on from their day's work. And there are couples who come in and never even look at each other because the whole time they're scrolling on their phones. Years ago, there was a couch in the corner cafe. I don't know if y'all remember that or not, but there was a couch in there. And there was this couple that when we would sit on the porch, we would see them walk by every day going uptown and they were goth. They were all dressed in black and their faces were white with white makeup and the black lipstick and nail polish and everything. And what we discovered was that you could always find them on that couch in the corner cafe. And we came to call them the couch people. Oh, look, there go the couch people. To be honest, I have a feeling this is the case. If there are people there who you would not mind having join you at your table for your meal, but there are others who you would not feel comfortable with at all. Now, see, we Southerners, we're too polite to go about labeling people like that. We don't stare. I did it just for the sake of this sermon. But if you did, that's what you would see. If you went in there, you would see this conflicting nature of us, the divisions and the hatreds and the loves and the unknowns, all sitting there in community, all sitting there in the corner cafe together. I'm going to tell you, it ain't church. Or is it? Because after you've checked out all your dining mates and you've had your sip of tea and all those things, your eyes might rest on a certain part of the wall. It used to be over behind on one side. They've moved it over to the other when they repainted, I think. And you would notice this place. It's on the wall on the left, up toward the very front. It's in plain view for everybody to see. It's been hanging there forever. It's a picture of Jesus. Now, it's not some hippie rendition of what they think Jesus might look like with flowers in his hair and a silly grin on his face. It's not that Jesus, it's the church people Jesus picture. It's the traditional Werner Sallman picture like we have hanging in the Sunday school room, you know? And there he is, Jesus, for 30 years, hanging there, just looking over the whole place, checking us all. Now, there was a time in my life when that picture hanging there bothered me. It was when I was just kind of getting the hang of things. I was just I was in seminary and I thought I knew it all. I don't know nothing, I'll tell you. But I was like, wait, this is not the appropriate place for Jesus to be hanging. You don't hang the Son of God on the wall with hippie, bad tattoo mysticism art. Jesus doesn't belong in all this searching for the answers art. He should be in his own place, like next door at the Presbyterian Church in the sanctuary. Put him in there. He'd be happy, for goodness sakes. I felt like that for a long time. Thought I knew it all, and that we Christians were above everything else and needed to seclude ourselves into those holy places. And then I began thinking about things in the Bible, like Linda read to us earlier. A new commandment I have given you: love one another. As I have loved you, love one another. And I got to thinking about how important Jesus felt community and breaking bread together was, and of how he kept getting into trouble. Remember, the Pharisees, the church leaders would say he ate with sinners and tax collectors. How he prepares the table for us sinners. It's so important. And so here's the question that I've been asking myself, and it's the question that I want to ask you today as well. When Jesus said, love one another, as I have loved you, you are to love one another. So just who is Jesus talking about right here? Who is Jesus telling us to love? We know that he's talking to his disciples, because they're still there in that party room that he's rented for the occasion. Judas has just left, as Linda pointed out. We know what's coming. So, was Jesus telling just his disciples, literally love one another, just the 11 of them who were left? Or was he telling them to love the world, the whole eclectic, authentic, crazy, mean, and wonderful world? Now, listen, y'all, the way we answer that question makes a world of difference in how we live our lives. Eating at the corner cafe is without a doubt an experience that we should all have. It is it not? The sharing of a meal with sinners and tax collectors, all of us together. And there's Jesus right in the middle of it all. And I can see Martha in the kitchen flipping that pizza dough around her head. And I can see Paul sitting with the hippies and the activists and the lovers of art and music and teachers and caregivers and nurturers and servants. I can see those who paint houses and those who steal money and those who are full of hatred and envy and desire and love and kindness all at the same time. On any given day and in any given place where food is placed upon the table, I am convinced that Jesus is present, right in the middle of all us sinners. He's not on the wall. But listen, instead of Jesus being on the wall, what we strive for is Jesus painted upon our hearts, reminding us of that love thing. 21st chapter of Revelation tells us about a new heaven and a new earth. Tells us about how this new city of Jerusalem is coming down from heaven. Then John hears a loud voice from heaven right in the midst of the sun and the moon and the stars and everything else. And the voice says, "See, the home of God is among mortals. He will dwell with them. They will be his peoples, and God himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Mourning and crying and pain will be no more, for the first things have passed away." And the one seated on the throne said, "See, I am making all things new." And that's what we seek. That things be made new and right and based on love for one another rather than on fear of one another. But in order for this newness, we got to take Jesus down from the wall, y'all. We got to hang him in our hearts. And when we do, we will realize that he has been there all the time. So I wonder, and maybe you're wondering the same thing, how will that change anything? Well, here's the challenge. I'm not asking you to go too far out of your comfort zone. I'm not asking you to go too far out on a limb here. You don't have to invite the man with the snake tattoos on his face over to your table for dessert and conversation. To get started, Jesus isn't asking us to do anything. He is simply asking us to see one another differently. You see? He's asking us to feel different, to see the couch people as he sees them, to look past the outside and all the labels that we humans create for ourselves. With Jesus rumbling around there in our hearts, what happens eventually is that we come to see each other as just people, right? As just people, God's people. Eclectic, there's no doubt about it, with no apologies, yet people who are broken, people who are full of fear and hurt and loneliness and pain. See, all of us, every one of us is hungry and searching, whether we know it or not. And that means that all of us are on the journey together. And we're not alone. Christ is with us. He's the shepherd and we're the sheep. His constant lead is for us simply to be ourselves, to be exactly who we are created to be authentic, but in the middle of the authenticity, to simply be kind and to walk beside one another in compassion and acceptance, no matter what. And yes, love. Yes, love, no matter how different we are. Jesus says, just trust me. I've been hanging here a long time. I know things. Trust me. You do your part, I'll take care of the rest. I am making all things new. Your job is to love one another as I love you. And all God's people said, Amen and Amen.
To us grace that